The advice I would give to a teacher who's just getting started, if there was just one thing, it would be to make sure that that teacher knew you don't have to go it alone. There are people, there are resources, there are organizations. There's what you need to be successful is out there. You may need to go get it. You may need to make some phone calls or message somebody in some way. But don't fall into that trap where you think you've got to be the one to gut it out, to invent everything in your classroom from scratch. We share as psychology teachers, we borrow, we give credit to the people that have helped us. But just make sure you don't fall into that trap of thinking that you've got to do this all by yourself. You don't.
A couple things. Be reflective. It seems like you don't have time to be reflective, especially that first year, but it's really important. Reflect on what went well. Reflect on what could be better. Do it at the end of each day, at the end of each unit, at the end of each semester. Sometimes at the end of each class. The more time you can spend reflecting, the more, I think, intentional you become about improving as a teacher, which is what you want to do. Don't lose your sense of humor. If I ever reached the point where I couldn't laugh, I knew I had to take a big step back and try to regroup and move on from there. There are a couple of quotes that meant a lot to me as I went through my career, still mean a lot to me. One of them I learned from Charles Brewer, a mentor of mine, many, many years ago. It's a quote from Henry Adams, an American historian. I don't know much about him. He said, "A teacher affects eternity. He never knows where his influence stops." He never knows where his influence stops. That's true about teaching. You do things in the classroom each day that touch the lives of each student in ways that sometimes we can't imagine. The longer I taught, the more I learned the truth of that. I've been out of the high school classroom now for a decade. I still am contacted by students occasionally, not often, but several times a year, who tell me about something they remember from class and for some reason felt moved to write and tell me about it. And it blows me away that they remember this, or that had an impact on them, or how this influenced their choice of a career. And if you'd asked me at the end of that day, it may very well have been one of those days is, why am I doing this? I shouldn't teach. You touch students every day in invisible ways. And it was very comforting to me to realize that if I just stayed true to myself, stayed true to the discipline, I could have a really, really positive impact on hundreds, thousands of people. That was helpful. The other quote is from a man named Hartley Alexander. He was speaking at the funeral of a University of Nebraska psychology professor named Harry Kirk Wolff, who's probably the most influential psychologist nobody's ever heard of. Wolff focused exclusively on undergraduate studies. He didn't do a lot of research. He was a pure teacher, a hard-nosed teacher, who wrote out his lectures by hand and stood and delivered to the class, but whose students loved him. 3 or 4 of his students, I forget which, went on to become presidents of the American Psychological Association. I never had a single one do that. He was an amazing man. I would have loved to have met him. Hartley Alexander said at his funeral, "We were willing to venture the work for the sake of the zest." And I took that and I printed it on a dot matrix printer back in the day, and I taped it on the wall of my classroom. And it became sort of a motto, both for my students and for me, that I'm willing to work hard because of how I feel when it goes well. And my students are willing to work hard because how it feels when they get that sense of accomplishment, true satisfaction that they've worked hard and done something important, done something good, done something that helped them and helped others. And that meant a lot to me, just to be able to rely on that on the days when I didn't want to work hard. But I knew that if I didn't, then I wouldn't get that reward at the end. And that helped me a lot in my teaching.